Welcome everyone. We're going to be doing some review on how to solve an equation, multi-step equation, and we're also going to be doing a review on graphing. So when we have an equation, we're going to start with something simple like this. When we ask you to solve, we're asking you to isolate the variable. So here's my variable. In this case, it's n. Okay. And what some people like to do is draw the line here down the equation symbol. That way we know that the variable needs to be on one side of the equation only. So my final answer should read something like n equals and then a number. Okay. When we have like terms, think of these as the same letter, we can combine them. So if I have like 4 apples minus 2 apples, I end up with just 2 of the same variable, okay? My equal sign is going to just stay down that line here for now, and I haven't done anything to the right-hand side. Then I need to look at what is next to my variable that I'm still trying to solve for. So when there's nothing between the number and the letter, this indicates multiplication. It's invisible, but that's what it means. So think about the opposite operation of multiplication, and that's going to be division. So I'm going to divide both sides by the number I want to get rid of. In this case, that number is going to be 2. The goal here is that this is going to cancel because 2 divided by 2 is 1. So the only thing left over here is n. And then you do the operation 4 divided by 2, and you get 2. So then your final answer is going to be n equals 2, and you are done. Here's how you can check your answer if you want to double check that it does work. So we're going to substitute the answer back into the equation and see if it simplifies to equal 4. So 4 times 2 is 8 minus 2 times 2 is 4. 8 minus 4 is 4. Therefore, I know I did it correctly. Okay, it satisfies the equation. All right, this one. So again, we want to try and combine any like terms that we have on the same side of the equation. So here I have x and a minus 5x, and I'm going to see if I can combine them. So using your calculator, what you're doing is 1 minus 5, okay? Because they're x's, so I'm just going to look at the numbers. So 1 minus 5 is negative 4, and that's going to be x's there. So I have a negative 4x, and then this plus 3 is still there. And on the other side of the equation, I still have a 3. So we want to move things away to get x by itself. You are going to subtract 3 from both sides. That's going to cancel out there. 3 minus 3 is 0. Okay, so then I have 0 equals negative 4x. Now, the negative 4 and the x are still being multiplied. A lot of times people confuse this with the minus 4, so they want to add 4 to both sides, but remember that the number next to the x, if there's something between the number and the x, then it implies it's being multiplied. So I'm going to divide by negative 4 instead to both sides. That's going to cancel out on the right side, and then 0 divided by negative 4 comes out to be 0. 0 divided by anything is going to be 0. Okay, you can obviously go back and substitute to make sure this works. So 3 equals 0 plus 3 minus 5 times 0. Negative 5 times 0 goes away, so then I end up with 3. 0 plus 3 is 3. And that ended up working. Alright, so now we have a problem that has parentheses, and anytime you see parentheses, that means distributive property. So we need to distribute the negative 3, and when you distribute, you are going to multiply these numbers together. So I have negative 3 times the 4 is going to give me negative 12, and the variable stays the same. And then negative 3 times the negative 8. Negative times negative makes a positive, and then 3 times 8 is 24. Okay, and then remember you can draw that line if that helps you. So then, same process, I need to somehow get rid of everything else and just leave r by itself. So first thing I'm going to do is subtract 24 from both sides. So always choose to move the furthest thing away from the r. So like the negative 12 is going to be moved at the end because it's attached to the r. So get rid of everything else further away. So on this side, this 24 is going to cancel. I end up with negative 12r. And then on the right hand side, you're going to use your calculator, and hopefully you're going to get negative 60 here. Then again, I have a negative 12r, but remember these are being multiplied, so I'm going to divide by negative 12 to get rid of it. That leaves me with r equals a negative divided by a negative is going to be a positive answer, and then 60 divided by 12 gives me 5. And I'll let you go ahead and check your answer by substituting it back into the original equation. Okay, here's the next one, another set of parentheses. So I'm going to distribute the 6 through. So on this side I still have 24. Then I'm going to multiply through here, negative 6x, and then because there's only one negative, so my answer here is negative. And then positive 6 times negative 3 is going to still be a negative 18. You're trying to get x by itself, so I'm going to get rid of any plus or minus first. I'm going to add 18 to both sides. It's going to get rid of it on this side, which means the only thing left over is going to be negative 6x. Okay, and then I'm going to add here. Okay, so again, negative 6x is being multiplied, so I'm going to divide by negative 6. On this side, I'm just going to have x by itself. Here, this is a positive number divided by a negative number, so my answer will be negative. And then 42 divided by 6 is 7. All right, now we're going to review how to graph a line in slope-intercept form. So a quick reminder here, this is the general equation of a line, y equals mx plus b. M is my slope, and my slope is rise over run. And my b here is my y-intercept. So this is where my line is going to cross the y-axis. You want to start here. Always start with your y-intercept, and then you're going to use the slope to plot additional points. So in this first example, my y-intercept, my b, is this right here. You have to bring the sign in front of it. Okay, so in this case, it's negative 1. So because this is my y-intercept, I'm going to go along the y-axis here, and I'm going to make sure I plot it on the y-axis. So if I go down to negative 1, my first point ends up being there. Then I'm going to identify my slope. My slope is the number in front of x, not including x. X isn't part of the slope. So my slope is 1/4. I'm going to rise 1, run 4. And this is positive, so because 1 is positive, I'm going to go up, and then I'm going to run to the right, and that's how I'm going to plot additional points. So starting from here, from my y-intercept, I'm going to go up 1 and right 4. You can do one more, up 1, right 4. You can also go in the opposite direction to make sure that you are getting that line. And then you can connect your dots. Okay, going on to number 2, identify your y-intercept. So in this case, it's a positive 2. That's going to be where I start my graph, right there at positive 2. My slope, in this case, it's whatever is in front of my x. So there's a negative there, so negative 1. That one isn't a fraction, but anything over 1 is still the same thing. So in this case, we're going to rise. Because it's negative, I'm actually going to go down. And then this one's positive, so I'm going to run right. So from my intercept, I'm going to go down 1, right 1, down 1, right 1, and keep going there. And I can also go in the opposite direction to create that line. Then I'm going to connect the dots here, and that's going to be the sketch of my line. All right, number 3, your y-intercept is this, right where you start, so you're going to go up to 1. And your slope, there's nothing in front of the x. Anytime there's just a letter and nothing in front of it, there is an invisible 1. So your slope is positive 1 over 1. Remember, I can always put a whole number over 1 and still get the same answer. So I'm going to go up and to the right, because positive for rise means up, positive for run means right. So from the intercept, I'm going to go up 1, right 1, up 1, right 1, and keep going. And I can also go in the opposite direction to get those additional points. And connect those dots to create my line. Okay, last one here. My y-intercept, bring that sign with you, it's -4. So you go down to -4. And my slope this time is a fraction, 4 over 3. So I'm going to go up 4 and right 3 to plot additional points. So here we go. Up 1, 2, 3, 4, right 3, 1, 2, 3. There's my next point. Can do that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. And those are enough points to sketch my graph.